So let's start with a quick 5 from 5. Khash, mountains or the beach?
Beach for sure.
Beach for sure. Okay. Solving a problem in the field or teaching in a classroom?
Take the data from the field, come to the classroom, teach, go back to the field.
So you're avoiding it by a continuous circle. Okay.
Yeah.
But you started with solving a problem. So I think that has to be where you start.
Yeah.
An early morning site visit or a late night studying?
Early morning site visit for sure. Yeah. Practical first. Yeah.
One detailed technical article or a YouTube video explainer?
Detailed article first, reading first. Yeah.
Okay. Here's one for you. Masala dosa or the perfect cup of coffee?
That's a difficult one. If it is eating time, masala dosa. If it is routine time, coffee for sure. That's a good question.
I asked that one because you once described
Yes,
masala
this is my
dosa,
best Indian food option.
Yeah, as if it was a
Catch.
fully formulated lubricant, and it
Yeah,
made me
it
wonder:
has.
do you ever switch off?
No, actually, I sleep very less. I'm always online. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Khash, welcome to Beyond the Blend. You've built a career around machinery reliability, bearing lubrication, failure analysis, and more recently, turbine oil chemistry and varnish management. Wow. You've worked across the Middle East, Africa, and India. You've developed an extraordinary portfolio of professional qualifications and built a global following by sharing technical knowledge with enormous consistency. You've recently completed 5 years with EPT Clean Oil and are beginning a new chapter with Noria Corporation as a freelance machinery lubrication trainer and consultant. There's clearly a highly accomplished engineer sitting with us today. But what we want to begin with is the person behind all of that knowledge. Khash, please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us about you and the young Khash and the early years.
Oh, thank you, Steve, for a great introduction. Yeah, I can start with my early life. I was born 1986 with a small family, partly in Europe and partly in Middle East. My family are separated, and then graduated as a mechanical engineer the year 2007, and then started my early days in this world as the mechanical design engineer with the cement and mining industry and steel, and then going first to the industry, stepping into contamination and very harsh environments, and I was really afraid. And then it moved further. I mean, I don't, just as a short introduction of myself, a simple guy, a very honest and transparent person. Looking at the world is too harsh, but started learning, everyday learning.
Yeah. So you mentioned Europe. So where was growing up? Where was young boy Khash? Where did he grow up?
Yeah, I was born in Iran, Tehran, and then I moved to Oman early days of my career. So around 23 years in Iran, and then after that, around 17 years, I am in Oman now, living in Oman.
So early school years was in Iran?
Yes, sure. I studied mechanical engineering in my country, and then moved early days, like within 2 years, I moved to international company called SKF, and then they moved me to Oman and the UAE office, which is the regional office, and then the world started changing for me because of that international company career.
Yeah. Wow. So are you an only child, Khash, or are there other of you around?
I have a sister 10 years older than me. She is based in UK, and we meet often online, but we are two, a small family. She is in UK and I'm in Oman. So we are very a small family. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there we go. So you have a UK preference of a football team, maybe.
Yeah, sure. From childhood, I was picking between Manchester and then Real Madrid of Spain, but still, Manchester United is my favorite team. And the team, Paula Scholes and David Beckham and others, that I have still those memories in my mind. Yeah, Manchester was my
So
favorite
that
team.
that era of Manchester, where the
Yeah,
young boys came through and
exactly. And
basically won everything, didn't they?
exactly, yeah, how Alex Ferguson was coaching that team and from the young age, and then how they made the UK team. It was, yeah, I don't forget that time. It was fantastic.
Yeah. 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 Does Oman have a football league?
Uh, Oman, they have a football, but their national, the sport is not football, and they are not really investing much on football, but they have, yes.
Yeah. What would be their national
Uh,
sport?
uh,
You could teach us something here.
yeah, sure. Oman, they have invested on sports like martial sports. They have some good people in martial sports, which they are like winners of world championships and so on. And then they have spent on cars, and they are good sports people with cars. And they have also good goalkeeper, very famous one, which played I think in UK as well. So yeah, sports here, because of being a 5 million population country, is not that like with the larger countries, but still, yeah, there is a sports. Yes.
So with only 5 million, you know everybody, right?
Yeah. At least industry, I think everybody knows me.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the point I'm trying to make. I think you're very
Yeah.
well known and very
Thank you.
respected. And again,
Thank you.
thank you for joining us on Beyond
Thank.
the Blend. So tell me, Cash, where does your story really begin? And what first attracted you to engineering?
Uh, to be honest with you, when at the age of 24, the chance of joining an international company like SKF came to me, and then I started the SKF career at the age of 24. I was one of the youngest engineers being hired as a sales engineer in SKF Group. And then I started thinking that, okay, I am a mechanical engineer. We are taught on rolling bearings in mechanical design in every university, which they are, I mean, delivering to the world mechanical engineers, but I didn't touch any rolling bearing. And now I am an employee of the biggest company in the world. Then this was a surprise. And next to me, there were people 20 years in SKF. And I felt that I need to be reading and reading, and I need to practice everything in these books in the field. I think that my story begins that I had the first SKF maintenance handbook in my hands in the year 2009, at the age of let's say 24, 5 years old, and then knowing that the people in the field sometimes they know less than me because I am an international company employee, but I need to practice everything written in that book. So learning and learning the theory and then practicing in the field was the secrets behind my success in those early days.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to come on to your learning. I think it's an incredible side of your personality and your accomplishments. But was you always curious? Like, because I'm thinking about this 24. Okay, that's not just luck that you got employed at 24, right? How did that happen? How did Cash get noticed by SKF at 24?
Yeah, the story is nice. I was going for the interview at the age of 24, and they needed a maintenance and lubrication products sales engineer because the lady was immigrating to Sweden who was responsible on that product line, and they needed somebody to replace quickly. And then I searched around with all the SKF distributors. What is this position? I was asking many people going for the interview, and then I bought even an SKF book in my hand at that age. And then I went for the interview, and then very confident, I showed up in front of the country manager and saying that I can do it, and I have seen belt conveyors. And then the guy was telling me, okay, stop down. Do you know, if you're saying conveyor belts, do you know crusher in a cement plant? I said, no, sir, sorry, I know only conveyor belts, but I can learn. So the very curious, very energetic, too much of passion for the job helped me to get that job. And then believe it or not, everybody was 10 years older than me or 15 years older than me in that office. And it was like a survival for me was to be qualified, to be knowing what I am doing. So it ended up that I was maintenance and lubrication products sales engineer. There was a research and development center of lubricants for, tribology center of SKF in Netherlands. Very soon, in 3 years, I was known as a grease guy. I was selling SKF drums of grease, much more expensive than the known brands of Shell and Total and others. It was only due to the knowledge and expertise to the highest level possible in my environment, and then educating people, learning myself. I think this was the first 3 years key, and then selling hundreds of drums of SKF grease to steel industry, sampling them, analyzing them in the labs. Very few, they were testing grease after sales. So that was making me very unique in 2012 when I was promoted to come to Oman. That was the key behind, especially grease sales. I was selling many other things, but my grease expertise was really different than that time I took SKF career.
So what brought you to Oman was a promotion, actually.
Promotion, yes. My sales of lubricants, which I was selling in 300 drums per year, so it was kind of a very significant sales of selling drums. People, they were selling in pails of 1 kg, 5 kg, 18 kg. That was nice, okay? But selling to steel industry in drums and making contracts and then doing sampling, doing analysis and testing, water coming in and being always in the plants and so on. That was the real difference for me in the lubrication area. Till that time, I was not still ICML certified. I was just a very successful lubrication sales engineer in SKF at the age of, let's say, 2012, when I was 26 years old with 3 years experience in SKF.
So everybody's already working out how old you are, by the way, by the little clues you're leaving along the line. I like it. So listen, I learned something there, that 24-year-old in Oman, you joined SKF, and there were majority of people were 10 years older than you, right? Was that difficult to establish yourself as a credible professional in their eyes?
I feel everybody finds a support that you join that company. For example, the hiring manager or your direct manager or a colleague that is giving you a reference, and then you join that company. For me in SKF, I had some people around me, especially in Europe, in that research center of tribology. There were some people very supportive to me. There was a local person from Czech Republic that was supporting me as a lubrication in charge of the Middle East. And then, to be honest, always colleagues with the higher experience, with the junior guy, there was always a clash, because whatever junior guy says, he doesn't know, he should learn and so on. He needs experience. But there were people that they were my ladders, they were bringing me up to the right persons, to the right projects, giving me the chance to experience. So those people I will never forget them, because they were the reason I am the Khash today. And then I am doing it for the young guys today, that we need to give them the chance to show their capabilities. If they need to wait for everybody grown up to retire, they will never get a chance to grow.
Yeah. And in that experience, somebody recognized something in you. Okay, you got promoted to go to Oman. Okay, we could say it's because you sold a lot, but I'm sure there was more to it than that. Somebody recognized other capabilities. Was there a particular person who recognized that in you, and almost like an early mentor, an early somebody that shaped you?
There were some people, I can name them as well. One of them was a Romanian guy called Mihai in SKF maintenance and lubrication products. Then the same person, Czech guy, Yuri Keha, and then Alan Nurdover. For now today, I think he left SKF, a French guy. These three guys, and then again Santiago Bertora from Argentina, a group of lubrication management experts of SKF. They understood that this guy has a talent. Let us inject him with the knowledge that all we have, and then he goes to the field and brings the business back. And then the time came that, okay, 2012, a group of people around the world, they were collected together to how to sell lubrication management concept. Means that it's not about selling lubricant, it's about how to buy it, how to store it, how to use it, how to sample it, and how to manage the program. So we were trained all together from different nationalities. And then I was a level 1 technician by ICML certified, an MLT1 certification. And then this brand came to my life. I started reading Noria books and machinerylubrication.com. And then I started understanding that my eyes has been only SKF, which is 5 years. And it's good. I mean, I am SKF employee. I should think about my company only, but my eyes, broadened. I had a look at from top view of the lubrication industry. I understood that maybe I know 10%, I know 20%, I know very little about the whole thing. I mean, how the lubricants are manufactured, how grease and oil are made, how they are stored, how they are purchased. So I started reading, investing on books. I made my own library. I started asking many questions from anybody around the world. That time, still LinkedIn was not this active. WhatsApp was just being promoted. It was not social media like this those years. So my only way was that any colleague I find, any person I meet, any industry professional I meet, I ask. I don't think that I am an SKF engineer. I should not ask. So asking, getting help, reading was my main time, 2014 onwards. And then I can explain more about how I grow in this area.
Yeah, and we'll certainly come on to that. I mean, I find that a good point of reflection, just for those that are listening in to the episode, that there was, a nucleus of people that you learnt from, and you not only did you learn from the people, you took a lot of personal ownership to see broader than just the thing that you were selling. And I think that's a real learning for people out there, that the breadth of what you know is the value. What you sell just happens to be the medium to the solution, but what the breadth of what you know, that's what really matters. And I think that's a good point of reflection. There's a slightly deeper probe I want to move to, if I can. We always do a little bit of research for these episodes, and I saw a post on LinkedIn about somebody called Tommy John.
Yes,
and
I
you
know him.
Called him your technical and commercial father. And I thought that was a very interesting choice of words. So what did Tommy John teach you that went beyond engineering knowledge?
Good question, and I was not expecting this. It's a good surprise. I mean, 2012, when I came to Oman, I heard his name and his company name, Vibe Spectrum, in Sohar, Oman, and he was my competitor, his company. I didn't hear his name first. I heard about his company, very famous in Middle East, called Vibe Spectrum or Vibe Spectrum. And then I started just competing with him as usual, because I'm an SKF engineer and I am offering vibration services and he's offering also vibration services. So we were competitors. And then during my EPT career, I needed to develop the EPT partner in Middle East for Dubai, for UAE. And then the man in my name was Tommy John, and then Vibe Spectrum, because they are everywhere in the industry in the UAE and they are delivering services into condition monitoring. So imagine I am calling my ex-competitor to be cooperating with me in UAE. So what happened? I did this research about his character and his technical knowledge, why I told him about this. And he calls me, like, by the way, in return, walking encyclopedia. He calls me and I call him my father, or let's say grandfather in this business. So he was ex-military, or let's say ex-Navy in India. So in Navy, he was a condition monitoring guy on the vessels. And then from the Navy character and background and knowledge, he moves to SABIC Petrochemical in Saudi Arabia. And he works as a reliability engineer in SABIC. And then 2009, the reliability engineer from Sabic decides to move to UAE and start his own business, which I can reflect it. And now I have started my own business in Oman. So he is my role model. Okay. So he comes to UAE and starts delivering a 24/7 business that he calls it 24/7 available. Because he has been reliability engineer and he needs a guy from a pump OEM or a vibration guy to come to his plant in Saudi and help him in the middle of the night that he has a failure. He doesn't find the guy. He's somewhere sleeping or another city or whatever, or not available. We need to quote and we need to do whatever. And then he made his company in UAE based on the concept that 24/7 availability. If they call him his mobile phone, he has around 50 employees and he's serving many industries in UAE, but his phone is always available for his customers. So these matters I heard from others, and then he invited me to his home. We started this EPT business together. So yeah, that's the reason. I have lots of memories with him. I can talk hours about Tommy John. And this is why I love also Indian culture, because I learned from him all states of India. I mean, you can have one state, two cities talk different languages within 100 kilometers together, different cultures in one state, for example. So learning Indian culture, how to sell and how to work in Indian culture, he taught me a lot. And then I helped him also with the lubrication expertise I had. Yeah, it was great memories with.
It's lovely to take you back down that little memory lane, because
yes.
what I see, and maybe if we show this as a video, your face began began to smile then. So it brought some very happy memories back, I think, Khash, right?
Yeah. Especially with Indian, with working with Indians, selling to Indians, it needs its own skills. I mean, it's not then very easy to work in that culture. You need to really understand it very well to be able to mix. My face is a little bit close to them. I mix with it very well, and I learned their culture very well.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm interested here. Was there a moment when you stopped seeing lubricant as something that was consumed by a machine, and began seeing it as an asset that needed to be managed? Was it during this journey? Was there something specific that you can reflect upon, a moment in time?
Yeah, I mean, I had two chances of continuing my career after that SKF 10 years experience, either to stay in rolling bearing industry or focus on my lubrication passion. And then with those ICML certifications, I became MLA 3 analyst, level 3 analyst. And later I became a CLS by STLE. And then I got varnish certifications. So what I did, I was keeping this rolling bearing expertise always in my reserve, that whenever I feel sad or not really having a mood in lubrication, to shift back. But to be honest, Steve, something I have seen in lubrication field that, okay, this is the minimum amount of attention given to lubrication compared to other fields. Okay, in the industry generally, some industries are advanced, they give more attention. Some industries, they give very little attention. But generally, the least amount of budget and care is given to lubrication. So it was somehow to me telling me that if I grow in this field, I will be unique, because the very few in my area are spending that much of time that I am spending on lubrication. They are spending time on lubrication. And then I think in Middle East, there was a concept like 10 years ago. I started 16 years ago, almost. 16 years ago, we in Middle East, we were thinking that we always need to import the knowledge or learn from others. I don't name it, but just means that we cannot be the experts, that we need to solve the problem. So I wanted to always break it, that lubricant is lubricant, asset is asset. If you know what you are doing, you can become an expert into the area and solve the problems anywhere you are in the world. It doesn't matter. It is Middle East, it's somewhere else. So there was a lot of cases. This 80-20 rule, Pareto principle, I really love it. 20% of the customers, they understand lubrication only. 80% they don't understand. So my job has been, because I'm a filtration expert, to filter the customers, find that 20%, that 20% understand lubrication, then focus on them. and then grow slowly, because still I feel 80% they don't care.
Yeah.
It's a chance.
It is. I mean, they concentrate maybe on the machine, but not the chemistry around the machine. I saw a post recently on LinkedIn, and I don't know whether the percentage is correct. Certainly during my time at Shell, this resonated. So maybe something like 1% budget is the lubricant, and 99% is the bits around it. Is that? Would you say that was a fair comment, or because the lubricant is a tiny amount?
Yeah, some industries is a little bit bigger value, some is less, but it's maximum 3% of the total budget of any industry. Okay, some industries they consume bulk oil and greases, which the amount goes a little bit higher, but it's same value. So of a total maintenance budget. So this makes it okay. Replace it easily. Just change it. Many condition monitoring reports or oil analysis reports are coming. Okay, replace. And then nowadays we see, okay, filtration is recommended, root causes are recommended, but really when we do blood analysis and we go to the lab and we deliver blood, a report comes to us from the lab engineer or lab analyst. It's writing, okay, you have a high sugar, but do we really make a decision based on a lab report, which is telling us what problem we have? Normally we go to a specialist. And then, Steve, imagine that, do we have the specialist in the factory floor to be able to read these reports, to understand it? Normally these reports are creating more questions rather than action items, that they understand what's happening really with grease or oil. Which one failed first? Did the mechanical equipment fail first and then the lubricant failed second? Or the lubricant failed and then the machine failed? So I have seen, correctly you said that industry is looking at the lubrication, that it needs to be replaced, and then we cannot do anything for it. And then nowadays the knowledge is becoming much more with the IIoT sensors, improving the knowledge in this area. I mean, maintenance people are understanding that the lubricant life can be measured. They can do a failure analysis on lubricants as well. And these are not just consumables that just fill it, replace it. Not like that.
It's an interesting reflection. Again, I mean, I'm sure people are, as they're listening, might be thinking about this. But, you know, when we see the suppliers of lubricants and we look at how they train their salespeople, they're talking about the lubricant. So they're talking about only 3% of what really matters to the person that they're selling to. So it kind of suggests that they're looking at the wrong part of learning. And we're going to come on to that in a little while, if we can, about how you use your knowledge and link it to commercial. But I want to, before we do that, jump back to a couple of times you've mentioned around learning. And I say this with the greatest of respect, that your name is followed by more professional qualifications than most people could fit onto a business card. You have such a roll of honor, it's to be respected. What continues to drive your hunger to learn?
Question. This is a very interesting question to me. I will answer it short. When I became MLT1 2014, and then all the colleagues around me which were helping me in lubrication, I understood that I need to be self-sufficient when I am in the field. It was the first journal bearing of a turbo compressor in my hand, right after that course in middle of desert in Oman, and I see like a gel and imagine like a glue on a bearing, full tank like a glue out of that turbine oil, and then I need to solve a problem, and then I don't have enough skills and knowledge about solving this problem. So then I went after it. I started reading and getting more qualifications. The certifications for me, anybody can read some books and then memorize them and go and succeed in some exam. But I call them this MLA3, MLT2, VIM, VPR, this kind of wording, I call them driving license for driving a car, you need a driving license. I call it driving license for running a lubrication program. If you don't have a driving license, you should not be driving it. It doesn't mean that everybody having a driving license is a good driver. You need to really see his qualifications. He has a practical experience in the field or not? But nobody without such a certification, in my point of view, should drive the program. Means that at least he should have a minimum attested certification that he understands what he is doing. So I did some studies in ICML website that they are listing. You started talking about lubricant manufacturers. I studied that how many Shell, Total, Mobil, and just respecting everybody in these companies, but they are the number one. How many of them they are like certified? They don't feel they need it. But this certification means that you go around the lubricant, not just how it was made and how you sold it, what happens after it. Normally, they don't take responsibility of the lubricant life. Many of them, they don't offer filtration. They don't know how much life they can get. They wait for the time to sell it again. So it's a matter of how to solve the problems of lubricant, how to filter it, when to do the top up, when to do the filtration, when to replace it, when to change it, and so on. So it's a matter of one guy in that company, maybe global known expert, that he is helping the local sales guys to give recommendations. But finally, at the end of the day, how they are measured, the KPI of these oil companies or lubricant manufacturers is by selling. So I'm always, Steve, imagining a table in my dreams. End user is sitting, OEM is sitting, lubricant manufacturer is sitting, lab guy is sitting, and let's say a consultant or trainer is sitting. Everybody has its own benefits, lubricant manufacturer wants to sell lubricants. The OEM wants to sell the OEM parts or services, and then the filtration company trying to save the oil, and the oil analysis lab is trying to be neutral, telling that what is the oil problem. Then now, out of this table, the poor guy sitting in the maintenance division or maintenance department, he should make a decision. Some of these people are talking against each other. And then that's the reason I started thinking that I should not be selling anymore. All of these years I have been using my knowledge to sell. Now I want to be an advisor. I don't want to be selling directly lubricant or lubrication solutions. I want to see which one is offering the best and opening the eyes of the lubrication end users, lubricant end users, to understand what they are doing, do they have the right skills, and then pick the best solution for their application.
There's a lot in what you've just said. Yeah, you took me back to some of the points within our biorevolution research. One thing that I've mentioned on the podcast before, and I'll do it again because it's really important that people hear this. The most important reason a buyer of a lubricant, in this example, would buy from you over somebody else is because of your knowledge of the product in application. Meaning, you know what the product does when it's in use. You know what the parameters are, the risk factors are, the success factors are. And I think that's really important that you started to explain that the poor guy who's buying it is bombarded by one piece of a jigsaw puzzle. He has no idea how it all fits together. Yet he's got 6 or 7 people trying to sell their product, and nobody is talking about the end-to-end view of the product in application. So I think that's really important, because the difference between knowing the technically correct answer and being able to explain that answer must be very difficult, I'd imagine.
Steve, I just want to use why I selected this brand. And I felt that Noria books and literature was trying to simplify a chemistry that looks like a magic for everyone. Lubricants are made by chemists, but used by mechanical engineers, okay? And mechanical engineers, most of them, or electrical engineers in terms of motors, they don't have any idea of chemistry behind it. They can read data sheets, they can select, but then simplifying the matters of lubrication into the real world usage for me is my main strength when I deliver training. For example, I give a example to you that I heard calcium sulfonate complex greases for day one are the best lubricants for steel industry when the water comes in, heat is there, and so on. And the thickener structure is going to help the base oil to maintain the oil film. And then if you go further in details of this, then nobody is going to understand anything. Then simplifying it, that how the thickener works, how the base oil works, and what is the affinity of the thickener to the steel structure. For me, in the technician levels, I just my delivery. And then for the highest level of organization, I do a different delivery, simplifying highest and most difficult, complex lubrication matters to the end user is a key for me to simplify it, because the industry is generally making it complex. It's like a rocket science to be able to show that they are doing better, but it doesn't need to be like that. The more we simplify it, the easier selection will be for the end users.
Well, thinking about the end user is indeed a very important thing, isn't it? And I think that's where some of your commercial lens comes. You think about how a customer or a potential customer would receive or want to receive the information. So just as we're still on this learning, there's two places I still want to go. You mentioned in an earlier answer, I think it was when you were in Iran before you went to Oman, you mentioned that the first qualification that you got was important for recognition. There was something there that you said around it helped others recognize you. And so that was important to you, I'm assuming, because you brought it forward. Was that recognition that led to confidence? So did the qualification help you not only feel recognized and peer comparable to your peers, but also gave you the confidence to present your solutions? I'm interested to just jump back to that comment you made.
You know, I was a character that I was always wanted to be in front and talking and going in front, doing presentations, teaching everybody like that. Then I felt that 2-3 pillars are required. One is experience, that I don't have it, but I will get it by age and more experience. Second is that the knowledge. So the certifications and knowledge was going to help me to empower me to grow more, to stand up and to take responsibility. And then the third one was relationships. How the knowledge was helping me, because if you don't have relationships in industry, I think if the best engineer you are, the most practical you are, without relationships, it doesn't work. And I think Plan, Grow, Do is trying to understand, help people to generate relationships that will last longer as well. Because if you cannot make the relationships properly for the long term, you will not be, selling also your solutions. The people I trained 16 years ago, sometimes they remember me because the interaction also is important. So I would say that I really love these letters next to me because they are very important to be somebody who can help the industry to solve the problems, complex issues. At the same time, what helped me to, from that move I had, is the relationship making, the character. I mean, I have still long-time friends in the industry, which they know me and they help me and I help them and so on. So I feel it's a combination of experience, knowledge, and relationship making, which makes everybody successful in this industry.
Oh, I love that answer. That's really good. And thanks for shouting out the work we do, indeed. Just the last one on this space. And again, it's going back to one of your LinkedIn posts. You see, I do read them. There was this piece about your recent MLE qualification, and you described it as a dream coming true. Why did that particular qualification matter so much to you?
Yeah, from the time it was formed by a group of people, I was involved and I had understood that what is ISO 55000. And then I have been dealing with a lot of CMRP in my career, means that reliability professionals. We have heard about reliability a lot, but exactly what a reliability engineer does in a company in Oman called Vale. Vale is the second biggest mining company in the world, Brazilian company in Sohar, Oman. They have a 8 million ton pelletizing plant in Sohar, Oman. So there was a Indian guy, reliability expert called Vinay. And with Vinay, I started digging into operator-driven reliability program. Means that how we can use the guys which they go and deliver grease and they take samples to use them to bring reliability information, how the asset is working, is their asset is healthy, lubricant is delivered properly, and bring more information. So I understood that a reliability engineer is going to assess the lubricant health and asset health, and finally, is the machine delivering what the objective of this asset is? So they are looking from top view, what are the KPIs in the production, maintenance, and others, and then is really this is happening in the field or not? And then what I liked is that in the reliability field, then you are having a top view from on the industry. What are the objectives of that, how the costing is done, and then all the reliability parameters which they need to monitor. So I understood that I am too much digging into lubrication. I am a too much just technical guy. I am using, technical expertise for the sales, but I need to having a little bit top view of what the industry is doing, how the maintenance managers, they think, how the reliability managers, they think, what they do. So for this, I needed to study at least around 1 year, a lot of references. This is a very extensive training, and then ICML 55 standard has been written down to translate the ISO 55000 data on asset reliability to make it into the lubricated assets. So how to use the reliability knowledge for the lubricated assets. So we have been talking many years on best practice. Every company calls it something. For best practice for one company, maybe could be different for the other company. But this piece of document, ICML 55 standard, is a miracle, where the people who made it means that finally we have something referred to as the best practice. This is written by 50 people, I think even more, globally known experts in the area. They are talking about the asset management part of it, as well as the lubrication expertise. So it was 150 questions, the most difficult exam I have given. And then to pass it, because I didn't want to just score it, Steve, I wanted to learn this. And then it took around 1 year for me to pass this exam and then go for it.
Yeah, what we've learned about you already in 45 minutes is you were never going to just pass, was you? You were going to have to learn it, buy the book, read more, and become the best. And we love that side of Khash that we're learning about today. And as we start to think about the commercial aspects of what you do, it's becoming more and more important. It's becoming more and more important when we start to think about the world we live in, the way people view lubrication, the way people view sustainability, the way people view life of assets, all of the things around that. You have to translate a lot of this technical work into, as you've already said, something that's like rocket science and complex into something that customers understand. You've already spoken to us about how your knowledge is high. How do you make sure you don't come over as also this technical rocket scientist that is somebody that is grounded in what our engineers are experiencing day to day?
I live in Oman. And then Oman is a kind of an international place. You have all the nationalities. In the past, there was more. Nowadays, is a little bit less foreigners. But I work with around 20 nationalities in my career, okay? And then from west to east, and then from Africa, from Middle East, from all the cultures, I work with them. And then hand to hand in the field. And then I understand that, for example, an African guy, how he thinks, and an Indian guy or a Filipino or a Japanese, I work with all of them, okay? So in every nationality, in my point of view, it needs you need to adjust your language based on what he thinks about this job. And then same job can be done by different nationalities, different ways. I mean, different cultures. So we say that lubrication is a cultural change required. I mean, even for salespeople, you are teaching them, they should be adjusting their sales speech based on the person they are talking to, his culture, and what he does. For me, because I learned some word, for example, an Indian word, I want to use it for you. I mean, it's a funny word. They have a word called jugard, okay? It's a matter of the guy is in the field and he has faced a problem, okay? And imagine a lubrication problem. And then by the book, he cannot solve it. And then he needs to find a way to run the plant because his boss is really pushing him to solve the problem. So he goes around and finding a solution to make it work. So this word, I have learned it in the field when something was going wrong and we found a solution just to make it work. And then when I use this word, when I am delivering a lubrication training, so everybody will be looking at me, this guy knows every single detail happening between the technicians and so on. So I think we need to know the culture first. Decision makers are most important. Then go to the lower level and see everybody in the plant environment. Or even I have seen, Steve, you are delivering great courses to the lubricant manufacturers. I mean, what are the KPIs? I mean, are they really looking at the sales at the end of the year, or there are other KPIs? I mean, making customer happy and how much we train them, and just it's not about the numbers only. So, I mean, cultural matter in sales as well as in the field for me is very important to adjust my message delivery. Is it either technical or sales?
So, I mean, what I really like that in a very simple way of phrasing it is that you can demonstrate that you walk in the shoes that your customers walk in. And I think that is a place of reflection again on the podcast. Do we always think about what the person we're speaking to is thinking, feeling, and experiencing? Because that really matters. We could demonstrate that we're the cleverest person in the room, but it might not serve the purpose of actually understanding their problem, solving their problem, helping them look good in front of their boss, or just making their life better. So I think what you say, respecting culture and difference, taking the time to do that, I think is really powerful. So thank you for that insight as well. I want to move now to a place that fascinates me, Khash, about you. I'm very fortunate to be one of your many followers on LinkedIn, and I would advise anybody that isn't listening to the podcast follows Khash. It's worthwhile, but you should be expectant of quite a bit of sharing of content and ideas. Khash, why do you share so much knowledge? Where does that energy come from?
Yeah, people message me, do you sleep sometimes? They feel I'm not sleeping anything. I feel still life is short. And then I was addicted from childhood to internet. I mean, from age of, I think 14, the first PC I had in my hand. Till now, I am very addicted into it. But the point is that I need to share something that is valuable. Number one, I assess it with my own brain and experience. And then I read it and I play with it for many hours and feel that if it is fascinating me, then maybe somebody else around the world would like it. And then the year 2018, when I left SKF, I thought that, okay, this international experience of working for a large corporation, it was great, but it had its own limitations. I couldn't share freely. So that time, I started sharing daily on LinkedIn, and then I started seeing that every post is bringing a lot of interaction. It started very slow, and then started growing. Every year was around 10,000 followers are being added, and that account reached in 2025 around 55,000 followers. And then I understood that people are really caring what I say and what I write and what I think, and then it's becoming a important follower base, and I need to care for them. I need to put a good content, and I need to read more, experience more, to share more. And then it became a habit for me. And I thought that this is my purpose of life, to share. And then I feel that God is going to share back to me what I get out from the other places. So then in LinkedIn became a very important part of my life, like 5 hours per day. I sleep late night. I wake up very early. So around 4 to 5 hours I spent daily approximately on LinkedIn. And then there was an incident that I lost that account, 55,000 followers, 2025, which is last year, May, it was lost due to very bold actions of cash sharing knowledge from some companies, maybe without permission, which I am not going to do it with a new account. Then I was really feeling bad, and I was very, very sad about this. And then I thought that, okay, what went wrong? I can restart it. And then during that time of 5 years of focus, I brought many of LinkedIn members, because LinkedIn is the official place. Many people, they don't behave what they really behave in the real life. Okay. I understood that out of that 55,000 people, I can bring them into WhatsApp groups. And I made first WhatsApp group 2018, which was 256 people, the maximum amount of number you could add to the group. So it came from like 40 nationalities. They came to that first group. It was called Bearing Failure Analysis. And then that group became more numbers. WhatsApp was allowing, and so on. And today I have around 15 groups. Each one has a 1,000 members, around 15,000 numbers around me in many global WhatsApp groups, which I share daily. They talk to each other. So I understood that this habit of sharing knowledge in LinkedIn, it can become much more personal than I have a real number in front of me. So I see the real face of problems and sharing with them. They started trusting me, that many people, they don't want to come with their personal numbers, but very key people like Jim Fish of Noria and others, they came to my WhatsApp groups and started sharing knowledge with each other. So I could bring in global experts into this, but okay, it has its own disadvantages as well, because it takes a lot of time. Some people, they share sometimes not really very high value data there, and they ask many things. But it was a great practice for me, that I could reach out to many places around the world that I could not reach in a normal life. And then I have friends all over the world with their numbers, and we share the problems. And then the new account, I opened it November last year. Actually, I used my wife's account, and I changed my name because LinkedIn was restricting me to come back. So I changed my wife's account into Khash account, and then that account has reached today, within less than a year, around 8,000 followers. And I am behaving as per the LinkedIn code of conduct, and then I am going to maintain it, hopefully. But I mean, I use LinkedIn for two purposes, not just for my own purposes, which is selling whatever I am doing, is that knowing what people do. I mean, this is very important, that in any industry you are working in, to understand the technologies. I mean, a sensor, an oil condition monitoring sensor, which is being developed in Spain by a company that I am following in, how it's delivering results, I can only hear and see it through LinkedIn, and then getting updated information, getting connected to the right people. And for sure, for salespeople, I really recommend it to use as well, because I have been selling equipment to Nigeria, but I never went to Nigeria, just by LinkedIn. So it has been helpful for me personally, as well as my passion of sharing knowledge as well.
I love that. And I do think people should just rewind and listen back to this part again, because I mean, whether you choose to spend 5 hours a day or whatever, the benefits of nurturing and being part of communities, be it sharing, be it learning, be it helping, you describe so many valuable aspects to it, as well as being able to sell your own products, services, and solutions, but with a wholly rounded frame for its purpose. And it's branched off into relationships, smaller, discrete communities. And I think it's a really good example of how people could whatever level they choose to learn from your examples. And I think there was this comment you made about you could make it more personal. And recently, I have to say, I've seen Mini Khash coming on the line, your son, right? That's lovely to see, hey? Becoming a father, I mean, you've described raising him as the most important project of your life. Has that changed the way you think about teaching, examples, legacy that you leave? How has that played out in your recent years?
Yeah, something came to my mind, Steve, when Arman, my son, came to life, is that in university, they didn't teach me lubrication. In university, we learned mechanical engineering, and then there is in higher studies, tribology as well. But it's not finally, universities are not going to generate lubrication experts or lubrication engineers, unfortunately, with the academic system that we have. So I am preparing a lubrication engineer for the world from the early years. And then simply the other day, the difference of honey and water, I mean, to explain viscosity, to explain what is the NLGI number and then how the consistency work. I have one sponge in my hand. I put it in water. I take it out. Full water is not coming out. Some water is kept inside. So how the thickener is maintaining the oil inside in a grease. So I am teaching with these practical examples to him. And then when I deliver online courses, he's always sitting with me, learning all the terms. And then he knows even plan, grow, do. We were today with dog last one, which you did. He was listening with me. So at the age of 10, I feel these children, this age, they are raising up with AI, with YouTube, we were not raised with this technology. So I feel that they need to be prepared much more than us. We were later at the age of 22 or 24. We just first faced these challenges. That age, I feel this generation should be prepared much in advance. And they will be dealing with some different things if we prepare them much in advance.
I love it. I mean, I love the thought behind that. And I think you've shown us a layer there that maybe we didn't know about you either. The reason behind that. I want to say this time has really flown by, and I'd say, thrown a stone across the surface of the pond of Khash. But it's been great to have learnt more about you and heard your story, and the way you've probably shared some insights that have inspired people listening to the podcast today. And I must say, I'm going to listen back to this one for sure. But as we're leaving the room together today, I always ask people about what is the one thing, if somebody was to be considering entering lubrication, reliability, condition monitoring, wherever they ended up in this great sector we work in, what's the one piece of advice you would give them, Khash?
Especially on lubrication, I'm trying to find examples of my own body because I'm analyzing it. I'm not a doctor, but the doctors always, they know more than me about my own body, but I always look at my own body, which is the closest, and we never sometimes focus. Every lubrication engineer learns that, okay, blood sample is similar to your oil sample. But do we really, some people, they really smoke and they really treat their body bad. They make it full of varnish. They drink too much. And then they don't think their own lubrication, how it is being done. So I feel that if we look at our own body, it's being lubricated very well. And then I hope that industry will have lubrication engineers, which they will think that their jobs is enhancing the asset life. Vibration is happening after lubrication failures are happening. So industry is mainly focusing on mechanical, but most of these failures are starting with lubrication issues. So I hope that the shift in the industry happens. More first lubrication is analyzed and then other matters. And then this would be my advice to everybody that, okay, every vibration engineer should be a lubrication expert as well. They should know lubrication as much as they know vibration.
Love it. Love it. Well, there's some great takeaways, and it's been a pleasure. Been an absolute pleasure to have you join us on Beyond the Blend
Thank you.
today, and I'm sure this episode will resonate with many, many people. The last point is, if people now are motivated to follow you, where will they find you? Where should they follow you on your journey? I've already mentioned your LinkedIn profile. Perhaps that's where you'd send them. But Khash, in your own words, where should people go to follow your journey?
Thank you, Steve. Because my lost one-time LinkedIn account, so I am really afraid. So I made my own channels. I made my own websites, turbineoilreliability.com, and then I made rollingbearingreliability.com as well. So I share my 2 areas of expertise on my own websites. As well, I have a YouTube channel, which is called Khash Loop Tips, which I am going to put more videos over there. And then I have WhatsApp groups, which are available in lubrication field, in rolling bearings, in rotating equipment, and so on. So, I mean, anyway, they can reach out to me. But I really want to appreciate you. I have already introduced you to the Shell in Oman and anywhere else I go, because I feel that what you are doing is changing people, saves people in lubrication field. They should come to you and learn how to sell lubricants, because I feel that these giants, especially giants in this area, they should be changing their behavior as well to maintain these lubricants as assets and not just sell lubricants to the industry.
Well, thank you. Very kind. Khash, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Blend. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Khash.
Thank you.